Tonight, breaking news as we come on the air, the deadly stabbing spree in New York City, right in Midtown Manhattan. Also, President-elect Trump's pick for Attorney General Matt Gaetz. Tonight, our interview, the lawyer for two young women, what they say they told the House Ethics Committee about Matt Gaetz. The fires burning around New York City tonight, and the tornado threat as we come on the air, several states. First tonight, new reporting on President-elect Trump's embattled Attorney General nominee, Matt Gaetz. Our Juju Chang and the interview with the lawyer for two young women, what he says they told the House Ethics Committee about the former congressman. Also tonight, President-elect Trump confirming his plan to use the U.S. military to conduct mass deportations. Trump says he will declare a national emergency. How will this work? Here in New York City, that deadly stabbing spree across Manhattan, 2 people killed, a third in critical condition tonight in unprovoked attacks. Tonight, multiple new wildfires erupting in the Northeast, flames burning just south of New York City, and the city's mayor now declaring the first drought emergency in more than 20 years. The tornado threat as we come on the air tonight across several states, severe thunderstorms moving east. And when will the Northeast see this rain? Lee Goldberg is here. Tonight, Russia's response with President Biden now allowing Ukraine to fire long-range U.S. missiles into Russia. And why the move now? Back here in the U.S. tonight, what Sean Combs is now accused of doing from behind bars. The passenger jet hit by gunfire before takeoff in Dallas. The break-in at another home of a sports star while he was playing. Is there a connection in a string of high-profile break-ins? The deadly E. coli outbreak linked to carrots sold at Wegmans, Walmart, Trader Joe's, among other places, at least 18 states. And America strong tonight, why the fans at the big game were suddenly cheering for someone else. No doubt you will too.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to start another week with all of you at home. We begin tonight with new reporting on President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General Matt Gaetz. Tonight, our Juju Chang in the interview, what the lawyer for two young women says they told a House Ethics Committee testifying Matt Gaetz paid them for sex. The House Ethics Committee had been investigating Gaetz, and sources say that committee was preparing to release its findings. But Gaetz resigned from Congress when Trump nominated him for AG, ending the investigation. Tonight, the lawyer for those two women who testified revealing what they shared with the committee, one of them saying they witnessed Gaetz having sex with a minor. Gaetz denies any wrongdoing, and tonight we have learned the president-elect is standing by Gaetz and is now working the phones himself with Republican senators to shore up support for Gaetz. Nightline anchor Juju Chang leading us off with the interview tonight.
Tonight, for the first time, we're hearing what two young women say they told the House Ethics Committee about President-elect Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General, former Congressman Matt Gaetz. The lawyer for the women telling me his clients testified Gaetz gave them money for sex, and there are receipts.
Just to be clear, both of your clients testified that they were paid by Representative Gaetz to have sex.
That's correct. The House was very clear about that and went through each. They essentially put the Venmo payments on the screen and asked about them. And my clients repeatedly testified, what was this payment for? Well, that was for sex.
The lawyer telling me one of those women testified she also saw Gaetz having sex with a 17-year-old girl.
So at this particular event, what did your client witness?
She testified in July of 2017 at this house party. She was walking out to the pool area and she looked to her right and she saw Representative Gaetz having sex with her friend who was 17.
Sources tell ABC News that girl, who is now in her 20s, also testified in the investigation. Gaetz has denied all wrongdoing.
I have not had a relationship with a 17-year-old. That is totally false.
The House Ethics Committee was poised to release its report last week, but then Trump announced Gaetz as his pick for Attorney General, and Gaetz abruptly resigned from Congress. With that, the investigation was closed. House Speaker Mike Johnson has urged the committee to keep its report under wraps.
I believe it is very important to maintain the House's tradition of not issuing ethics reports on people who are no longer members of Congress. I think it would open a Pandora's box.
But tonight, a growing number of Republican senators, including Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma, say they need to see the House report as part of the confirmation process.
Absolutely, and I believe the Senate should have access to that. Now, should it be released to the public or not? That's I guess that will be part of the negotiations, but that should be definitely part of our decision making.
Mullin, who once served with Gaetz in the House, has described how the former congressman used to brag about women.
We had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with.
Tonight, the president-elect standing by Matt Gaetz. A spokesman for the transition saying Matt Gaetz will be the attorney general. He's the right man for the job and will end the weaponization of our justice system. These are baseless allegations intended to derail the second Trump administration.
David, the House Ethics Committee is set to meet on Wednesday to decide whether to release the findings in that ethics report. Now, the growing number of Senate Republicans say they need that information as part of their duty in the confirmation process. David?
Juju Chang leading us off tonight. Juju, thank you. Meantime, tonight, President-elect Trump confirming his plan to declare a national emergency when he takes office and that he plans to use the U.S. military to assist in mass deportations. ABC's Mary Bruce in West Palm Beach, Florida tonight.
Tonight, President-elect Donald Trump confirming once he takes office, he will declare a national emergency and use the military to help carry out his plans for mass deportations of undocumented immigrants. Today, his new pick for border czar, Tom Homan, saying criminals will be the first to go.
We'll prioritize public safety threats and national security threats because they pose the biggest danger to the United States.
Homan says he's heading down to Mar-a-Lago this week to put the, quote, final touches on a plan, but acknowledges there are many unanswered questions about how Trump's policy will actually work, including how much it will cost.
So I've been asked 1,000 times, how many people can you remove the first year? Well, how many agents do I have? How many buses do I have? How much money do I have for airplanes, right? Can DOD assist? Because DOD can take all off our plate. So there's a lot of what ifs. I don't know what the current budget is right now. I don't have insight on what currently ICE and CBP has for budget. How much money can be reprogrammed? I can tell you this, President Trump's committed to doing whatever he can to get us the money we need.
As Trump works to launch his top policy goal, he's also fighting to get his controversial cabinet choices confirmed. In addition to the firestorm surrounding his attorney general pick, Matt Gaetz, there are growing questions about his choice for defense secretary, Fox News host Pete Hegseth. Hegseth's attorney now acknowledges he paid a financial settlement to a woman who accused him of sexual assault in 2017. Hegseth's lawyer says the encounter with the woman was actually consensual, but that Hegseth paid her anyway because he believed, quote, any public accusation would result in his immediate termination from Fox. Sources say Trump was only made aware of the incident after he had already named Hegseth to lead the Pentagon. And tonight, his team saying Hegseth has vigorously denied any and all accusations and no charges were filed. We look forward to his confirmation. Over the weekend, the president-elect out surrounded by members of his new team at an Ultimate Fighting Championship event, including his pick for Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, billionaire Elon Musk, who's been tasked to lead a new Department of Government Efficiency, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who Trump has tapped to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Kennedy, who has railed against processed foods and criticized Trump's diet, seen in this photo enjoying a meal of McDonald's on the plane with the president-elect. Leading health experts continue to sound the alarm about Kennedy and his deep skepticism of vaccinations. Today, Caroline Kennedy, daughter of former President John F. Kennedy, calling her cousin's stance dangerous.
I think Bobby Kennedy's views on vaccines are dangerous, but I don't think that most Americans share them. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Tonight, Donald Trump is standing by his controversial cabinet picks, undeterred by these growing concerns. So the question remains, can they get enough support in the Senate to be confirmed? And if not, will Trump urge lawmakers to forego their vetting responsibilities so he can get these through via those recess appointments? But, David, there is no doubt tonight Senate Republicans are under tremendous pressure. David.
Yeah, a lot of questions about where this goes from here. Mary Bruce, our thanks to you again tonight. To the other news this Monday and the deadly stabbing rampage on the streets of Midtown Manhattan. The attacker allegedly targeting victims at random, killing 2 people and leaving a third in critical condition tonight. Here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky.
This is the moment police say a 51-year-old homeless man pulled a knife from his bag before launching a deadly daytime stabbing spree across Midtown Manhattan.
Right now, these attacks seem to be unprovoked, that he just walked up to them and began to attack them with the knives.
Tonight, Ramon Rivera, who police sources say is the attacker, is in custody. These are the bloody kitchen knives they say he used to kill 2 men. And tonight, a third victim, a woman, died at the hospital.
3 innocent New Yorkers who's going about their lives were the victim of a terrible, terrible assault.
The bloody rampage began just after 8 a.m. on the west side, where a construction worker was stabbed in the abdomen. About 2 hours later, across town, a man fishing along the East River was stabbed multiple times. Then about 20 minutes after that, right outside the United Nations, a woman was stabbed repeatedly.
I'm walking with the guy who has 2 knives this long.
A cab driver who witnessed the assault followed the suspect and flagged the first officer he saw.
He kept pointing at, stop that guy, stop that guy. This person conceivably would have continued those random acts of violence, so he saved the lives of fellow New Yorkers.
The suspect's now at this police precinct, David. He has prior arrests in several states, including 8 here in New York City. So tonight, David, the mayor is asking, why was he on the street? David?
Good question. Mayor Katersky tonight. Aaron, thank you. We're also tracking multiple wildfires erupting across the Northeast, and New York City's mayor tonight officially now declaring the first drought warning in more than 20 years. One of those fires burning in Lakewood, New Jersey, south of New York City. At least 30 acres, 0% contained at this hour. New York City battling a record 271 brush fires in the first 2 weeks of this month. ABC's Trevor Ault tonight at the Jennings Creek fire right on the New York-New Jersey border.
Tonight, multiple new fires breaking out in the bone-dry Northeast.
We're just going to draw a line here between the two, about 700 feet separating those homes from those flames.
South of New York City, the so-called Country Club fire sparking up in Lakewood, New Jersey, quickly spreading to about 30 acres. At the same time, east of Hartford, Connecticut, firefighters battling to get a 26-acre fire under control there. And outside New York City, firefighters urged residents in more than 150 homes to evacuate near the Jennings Creek fire after it jumped containment lines over the weekend. And in Rockland County, New York, friends, family, and first responders gathering to honor 18-year-old Dariel Vasquez, who was killed while working the Jennings Creek fire November 9th. His aunt, Erica DeJesus, remembering him as someone who lifted others up.
Spoke to a couple of his co-workers, and they always said he was the person that they counted on. He was the person they wanted on their team when they needed him on day in and day out.
And David, the Jennings Creek fire has now been burning here for more than a week. It is 90% contained, but this is still an active firefight. It could continue to burn for several weeks more. David?
Trevor Ault on the fires to start off another week. Trevor, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from our New York station, WABC Channel 7 here in New York. Lee, we know rain is on the way for the Northeast, but there's also severe weather, even a tornado threat across multiple states you're tracking tonight.
David, there's a new tornado warning. That's for Newton, Texas. That's just east of Jasper. It's headed toward the Louisiana state line. This is potential for a pattern-changing storm. There's heavy rain across the heartland. Along the front, big winds, and behind the front, even 50-mile-per-hour gusts. Now, the severe threat lowers tomorrow, but the flood threat continues along the north-central Gulf Coast. Could be 3 to 5 inches of rain. Flood watch out for New Orleans. Heavy rain in the west side of Atlanta by morning. The northern part of the system is going to bring the first soaking to the northeast since late September. The lion's share coming Wednesday night into Thursday morning. The floor in the rainfall total is about a ½ inch. Some places get 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. That will certainly lower the fire risk. Could even be some snow mixing in on the backside inland Wednesday and Thursday into Friday. Definitely a pattern changer. David?
We'll track it with you. Lee, thank you. Overseas tonight into the war in Ukraine tonight, Russia's response now after President Biden decided to now allow Ukraine to fire long-range U.S. missiles into Russia. And why the move now? Here's our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, inside Ukraine tonight.
Tonight, Russia accusing the U.S. of escalating tensions and throwing fuel on the fire as President Biden gives the green light to Ukraine to fire long-range American missiles on targets inside Russia.
We want to make sure that Ukraine is in the best position to protect its interests.
But it's Russia also escalating with massive daily attacks against civilians and power plants across Ukraine. Those ballistic missiles, known as ATACMS, have a maximum range of 190 miles. But they've only been authorized to be used in Russia's Kursk region for now. Ukrainian soldiers seized territory there for leverage in truce talks. The US move driven by Russia's decision to bring in thousands of North Korean soldiers to join the fight. It comes just 2 months before President-elect Trump takes office on a promise to end the war in 24 hours. David, Ukraine's been asking for months to use these missiles. Now Zelensky warning an attack could come at any time. But Russia saying if that happens, the response will be tangible. David?
Ian Pannell inside Ukraine. Ian, thank you. Back here in the U.S. tonight, and Sean Diddy Combs, what federal prosecutors are now saying tonight, what they're accusing Combs of doing from behind bars. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos tonight.
Tonight, federal prosecutors accusing Sean Combs of relentless efforts to corrupt witness testimony and subvert his criminal case from behind bars. Almost immediately after arriving at the federal jail in Brooklyn, prosecutors say Combs started using telephone accounts of at least 8 other inmates to call people not on his approved contact list. Prosecutors alleging Combs frequently instructs family members and his attorneys to add other individuals via three-way call, which is not allowed. An October call made between Combs and one of his adult sons, prosecutors allege, provides the clear inference that the defendant's goal is to blackmail victims and witnesses either into silence or providing testimony helpful to his defense. And prosecutors say Combs is explicit about his intention to use public statements to sway potential jurors, including this Instagram post by his kids.
Happy birthday to Daddy.
Prosecutors say Combs enlisted family members to plan and execute a social media campaign around the defendant's birthday, the first time we heard his voice from behind bars.
Thank y'all for being by my side and supporting me.
David Combs has pleaded not guilty to criminal charges. He's being held without bail. His defense team continues to push for his release. David.
Stephanie Ramos here in New York. Steph, thank you. Tonight, the FBI is now joining the investigation after a passenger plane was hit by gunfire at Dallas Love Field Airport. The Southwest flight to Indianapolis was getting ready to take off just before 10 p.m. Friday night when a bullet apparently struck the right side of the aircraft near the cockpit. No one was hurt, but the plane was taken out of service. The passengers continued on a different plane. When we come back tonight, the newest break-in at a home of a star athlete while he was playing. Is this related? Also, the airline declaring bankruptcy just before the holiday rush. And the deadly E. coli outbreak linked to carrots sold at multiple stores from Wegmans to Walmart across 18 states tonight. More on that in a moment. Tonight, authorities are investigating a possible link between break-ins reported at the homes of several pro athletes, saying there are striking similarities to the crimes. The Milwaukee Bucks' Bobby Portis says most of his prized possessions were stolen while he was playing a game against Cleveland. Portis releasing surveillance showing 2 men wearing face masks at his home. This follows break-ins targeting the Chiefs' Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and the Timberwolves' Mike Conley Jr. When we come back here tonight, the U.S. airline that just filed for bankruptcy right before the holiday rush, and the deadly E. coli outbreak tonight linked to carrots in a moment. To the index of other news tonight, Spirit Airlines filing for bankruptcy. The low-cost airline says it will keep flying without interruption as it works through the bankruptcy process, trying to reassure passengers tonight it won't disrupt service during the holidays. It's expected to be a record holiday for travel over Thanksgiving. AAA tonight reporting nearly 80 million people are expected to travel. 6 million will be flying. Tonight, the CDC warning of a deadly E. coli outbreak linked to organic carrots. At least 18 states, 1 person has died, dozens sickened. The carrots by Grimway Farms sold at many stores, including Wegmans, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and Walmart. The warning involves whole carrots sold between August 14th and October 23rd, and baby carrots with a best by date no later than November 12th. When we come back here tonight, 2 rivals, and suddenly the whole stadium was cheering for the same star. You will be too.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, sponsored by Etsy. Gifts that say, I get you. Etsy has it.
Finally tonight here, America Strong, the big football game this weekend. 2 rivals when suddenly the whole stadium was cheering for the same person. She waited 100 years for this moment. It was the moment that suddenly stole the show from the football game. The whole crowd was cheering. Over the weekend at the University of Colorado football stadium in Boulder at Folsom Field, the Colorado Buffaloes versus the Utah Utes. And in the stands, Peggy Copham. She's been coming for decades. She used to come right along with her twin sister Betty, going to hundreds of games together. But when she lost her sister a few years back, Peggy was determined to keep coming to the games. So over the weekend, there she was again with her extended family. Only this time, she was celebrating her 100th birthday. And this was the moment, the whole stadium suddenly singing for Peggy, the announcer counting them down. Right here tonight.
Hi, David. I watch your show all the time.
Peggy celebrating her 100th birthday with this message.
It was very humbling and very heartwarming. God bless all of you in our country. Go Buffs.
Happy birthday, Peggy, and here's to many more of those games. And thanks for watching us, too, by the way. I'll see you, Peggy, right back here tomorrow night. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.